Maria lived in a large house at the edge of the city. The house had shining floors, tall glass windows, and wide halls where every step echoed. To strangers, her life looked perfect. She had money, influence, and people who respected her in society. Yet inside the house, behind those glass walls, there was a silence that weighed heavy. Her daughter, Anna, was the center of that silence. Anna was 12 years old, gentle in nature, with bright eyes that often searched for something she could not name. She was born with a condition that made it hard for her to walk and move like other children. Doctors had said she might never dance, run, or play the way other kids did. Maria loved her child deeply, but she also carried a quiet sorrow that she rarely spoke about. To care for Anna, Maria had hired a maid named Grace. Grace was not from a wealthy background. She came from a small neighborhood where families shared food and kindness to survive. She was hardworking, patient, and carried a calm strength that showed in the way she walked and spoke. Maria at first only saw her as a helper, someone who cooked meals, cleaned rooms, and stayed with Anna when she was busy. But Anna saw Grace differently. From the first day, the little girl noticed the way Grace smiled at her, not with pity but with warmth. Grace never told her what she could not do. Instead, she asked her what she wanted to try. When Anna struggled with simple steps, Grace did not sigh or turn away. She held her hand and said, "One step is still a step. That is enough for today." Maria often watched this from a distance. She stood at the door of the room or at the end of the hall, her arms crossed, her eyes sharp. She loved her daughter, but she carried fear inside her heart. She was afraid Anna might get hurt, might fall, or feel disappointed. So Maria kept Anna guarded, always reminding her of what was safe and what was not. Grace, however, saw something else in the girl. She saw courage waiting to rise. When she dressed Anna in the morning, she told her, "You are stronger than you think." When Anna wanted to reach for something on the high shelf, Grace lifted her gently and laughed, "See, together we can reach anywhere." One afternoon, while Maria sat in her office room going through papers, she heard soft music floating down the hall. It was coming from Anna's room. Curious, she walked quietly and stopped at the door. What she saw made her pause. Grace had pushed the furniture aside, making space in the middle of the room. Anna stood holding onto a wooden chair for balance. Grace was beside her, her hand resting lightly on the girl's shoulder. A soft song played from a small speaker. Grace moved her foot slowly to the side and whispered, "Now, try with me." Anna bit her lip, her hands gripping the chair, but then she moved one foot, just a little. Her face lit up, and she laughed in surprise. Grace clapped softly and said, "Yes, that is it. That is your first dance step." Maria felt her breath catch. She had never seen Anna try something like this. She had told herself dancing was impossible for her daughter, yet here she was, moving to the rhythm, smiling, and shining in a way Maria had not seen in years. Still, part of Maria's heart resisted. She thought, "This is dangerous. She could fall. She should not be pushed." But another part of her, deep inside, whispered, "Look at her joy. Look at her courage." She did not enter the room. She stayed by the door, unseen, listening to the music and watching the scene unfold. Grace guided Anna through another small movement. The girl swayed, laughed again, and lifted her chin high. That night at dinner, Maria sat quietly across the table from her daughter. Anna's cheeks were still glowing. She spoke excitedly, "Mama, I moved today. Grace showed me. I can dance a little." Maria forced a smile, unsure of how to answer. She wanted to say it was too risky, that she should not try too much. But she could not bring herself to crush the light in Anna's eyes. So she only said, "That is nice, my dear." Grace, who stood nearby serving food, caught Maria's gaze for a moment. Her eyes were calm, steady, as if saying without words, she can do more than you believe. Maria looked away, but the image of her daughter's small dance step stayed in her mind long after dinner ended. As she lay in bed that night, she wondered what was truly holding Anna back, her body, or her own fears as a mother. For the first time in many years, Maria felt something stirring in her heart. It was not sorrow or worry. It was a question she had avoided asking: what if Anna was capable of more than she had ever imagined? The next morning, the sunlight poured gently through the tall windows of the house. Anna sat near the balcony, humming the same song she had danced to the day before. Her small fingers tapped against the arm of her chair, following a rhythm only she seemed to hear. Grace came into the room carrying a tray of breakfast. She smiled at the sight of the girl humming and said softly, "You look like someone who is waiting to dance again." Anna's eyes sparkled. "Yes, I want to try more today." "Do you think I can?" Grace set the tray down and leaned closer. "I think you can do anything if we take it step by step. Your body might move slower, but your spirit is already dancing." The little girl laughed, a sound that filled the room with joy. She began to eat her breakfast, her eyes shining with eagerness. Maria passed by the open door and paused when she heard Anna's laughter. She had not heard her daughter laugh so freely in a long time. For a brief moment, Maria smiled, but then her thoughts turned. She remembered the doctor's words, the warnings about falls and injuries. Fear tightened around her heart once more. Later in the day, Maria sat in her office with an old photo album on her desk. Inside were pictures of Anna as a baby, wrapped in soft blankets. She remembered the first time she had been told about her daughter's condition. She had promised herself that she would protect Anna from pain, even if it meant limiting her. Now, after seeing her daughter attempt a dance step, Maria felt torn. She wanted to protect her, yet she also wanted to see her happy. Meanwhile, Grace was busy in the living room with Anna. She placed 2 chairs close together so Anna could hold on with both hands. She turned on soft music and said gently, "Let's try moving side to side. Hold tight, and I'll be right here." Anna gripped the chairs and moved one foot slightly, then the other. Her body shook a little, but she kept trying. Grace clapped her hands quietly and said, "Very good. You are strong. Even small steps count." Anna giggled and repeated the movement again and again until she was out of breath. Grace helped her sit down and handed her water. "You did wonderful," she said. "Every day you will grow a little more." The girl nodded happily. "I want Mama to see me do this." Grace's eyes softened. She knew Maria's fears and worries. She also knew the mother needed to witness the courage in her child. Smiling, she said, "She will see when the time is right." That evening, Maria noticed something new. Anna was more talkative at dinner, describing the music she liked and the moves she tried. Her cheeks glowed, and her voice carried hope. Maria listened quietly, her spoon resting on the plate. She wanted to believe, but her fear kept whispering, "Do not let her dream too much." After the meal, Maria called Grace aside. "I saw you encouraging her to dance yesterday. I am not sure this is good. She might fall. She might get hurt. I don't want her to suffer." Grace met her eyes with calm respect. "Madam, I understand your worry. But your daughter is not afraid. She feels joy when she tries. If we only think of her weakness, she will never know her strength." Maria's lips pressed into a thin line. She wanted to argue, but she could not deny the truth in Grace's words. The memory of Anna's glowing smile returned to her mind. For the first time, Maria stayed silent instead of dismissing the idea. Days turned into a week, and slowly Anna's steps improved. Grace taught her to move with the rhythm of clapping before adding music again. She made the lessons like a game, with laughter and small challenges. Sometimes Anna stumbled, but Grace caught her gently and said, "Falling is part of learning. We all fall. The brave ones stand again. One afternoon, Maria returned home earlier than usual. She walked into the hall and stopped at the sound of clapping and laughter. She followed the sound to the living room. There she saw Anna holding Grace's hands, taking slow but steady steps forward. The girl's face was full of determination. Each time she moved, Grace clapped and encouraged her. "Yes, Anna, just like that. You are dancing." Maria's eyes filled with tears she did not expect. Her daughter was not just moving, she was shining with courage. In that moment, Maria realized something she had never admitted to herself. Perhaps it was not Anna who needed courage, but her. She stepped back quietly, her heart heavy with thoughts. She had built a world of walls around her daughter, thinking it was love. But those walls were also chains. Grace, with her gentle patience, was slowly unlocking them. That night, as Maria tucked Anna into bed, the girl whispered, "Mama, today I danced 3 steps." Maria brushed her hair gently and smiled, though her voice trembled. "Yes, my dear. You are amazing." As she left the room, Maria felt something change inside her. The sound of Anna's laughter still echoed in her ears. She thought about Grace, about the strength in her quiet presence. For the first time in years, Maria began to wonder if she herself was the one who needed to learn how to move, how to let go, how to live without fear. The mornings in Maria's house began to feel different. The silence that once filled the halls was replaced by the sound of soft music, clapping, and laughter. Anna looked forward to each new day, knowing Grace would help her try another step. One bright morning, Anna woke early and called out for Grace. "Can we start now? I don't want to waste time." Grace entered the room carrying a folded blanket and a cup of warm milk. She laughed softly. "First drink this, then we begin. Energy is needed for a dancer." Anna drank quickly, excitement dancing in her eyes. Grace spread the blanket on the floor and said, "Today we try something new. You will stand without the chair for a few seconds. I will be right here to hold you if you feel unsteady." Anna's hands trembled as she let go of the chair, but Grace held her arms firmly. For a moment, Anna stood straight, her chin lifted high. She felt taller than she ever had before. "I am standing," she whispered proudly. "Yes," Grace said with a warm smile. "You are strong. You are standing." Maria watched secretly from the hallway. Her heart pounded as she saw her daughter take those few seconds of balance. Fear gripped her chest, but so did pride. She wanted to rush in and stop it, yet her feet remained still. She realized she could no longer ignore what was happening. Later that day, Maria sat with her old friend Clara for tea. Clara noticed her distracted expression and asked, "Is something troubling you?" Maria hesitated before speaking. "Anna has been trying to dance with Grace's help. She even stood without support today." Clara's eyes widened in surprise. "That is wonderful. Why do you look worried?" Maria looked down at her cup. "I am afraid. What if she falls? What if she gets hurt? I always wanted to protect her." Clara placed her hand on Maria's. "Protecting a child is important, but sometimes too much protection becomes another kind of cage. Maybe your daughter only needs a chance." Those words stayed in Maria's mind all evening. Meanwhile, Grace and Anna were planning something in secret. Grace said, "You are learning quickly. Would you like to show your mother a small dance? Nothing big, just a simple step." Anna's eyes glowed with excitement. "Yes. I want Mama to see me move. I want her to be proud." Grace nodded. "Then we will practice every day. When you are ready, she will see." Days turned into practice sessions. Grace chose a slow song, easy for Anna to follow. She taught her how to sway gently, to lift her foot a little, then return it with balance. Each time Anna managed a move, she clapped softly and said, "Perfect." That is your rhythm. Maria began to notice changes in her daughter. Anna's face was brighter, her laughter louder, her words more confident. She spoke about music, colors, and dreams of moving freely. At night, when Maria tucked her in, Anna would whisper about the steps she tried, as if she carried a secret treasure. One evening, Anna said, "Mama, one day I will dance in front of you. Will you watch me?" Maria's throat tightened. She stroked her daughter's hair and answered softly, "Yes, my dear. I will always watch you." When Maria left the room, her eyes were wet with tears. She realized her daughter's wish was not just to move her feet but to be seen, to be believed in. The next week, Grace and Anna decided it was time. "Tomorrow evening," Grace whispered. "We will surprise your mother. Only a few steps, but it will show her your strength." Anna smiled with nervous excitement. "I hope she will be happy." The following evening, the house was filled with quiet. Maria was in the living room, reading papers, when Grace entered with Anna. The girl held Grace's hand tightly, her face glowing with both fear and hope. "Madam," Grace said gently, "Anna wants to show you something." Maria looked up in surprise. She saw her daughter standing there, her small body trembling but her eyes shining with determination. "What is it, my dear?" Grace placed a chair nearby for support, then stepped back. Music began to play softly from the speaker. Anna gripped the chair for a moment, then let go. She lifted one foot, swayed gently to the side, and then stepped back again. Her movements were slow, but her smile was bright. Maria's breath caught. She covered her mouth with her hand as she watched. Her daughter, whom she had believed too fragile, was moving to music before her very eyes. Anna finished with a small laugh, clapping her own hands in delight. "Mama, I danced. Did you see?" Maria rushed forward, kneeling beside her child. Tears streamed down her face as she hugged her tightly. "Yes, my love. I saw. You were wonderful." Grace stood quietly nearby, her eyes gentle and full of pride. She did not need thanks. Seeing Anna's joy was enough. But in that moment, Maria's heart shifted. For the first time, she understood that her daughter's strength was greater than her fears. And she realized Grace had given Anna not just encouragement, but freedom. That night, Maria could not sleep. She lay awake, thinking of how easily she had accepted limits for her daughter. It was Grace who had opened the door to hope. Maria began to wonder if perhaps her own life, too, was ready for change. The days that followed were filled with new energy. Maria noticed the difference in her home. The house no longer felt like a museum of silence. Now it echoed with Anna's laughter, music from the small speaker, and the sound of Grace's gentle encouragement. Anna woke up every morning with excitement. She would call out for Grace and ask, "What step will we try today?" Grace never disappointed her. She always had a new idea, a new challenge, or a fun game to make practice joyful. One morning, Grace brought 2 scarves from her small room. She handed one to Anna and kept the other for herself. "Today," she said, "we will move with the scarves. They will help you feel the rhythm." Anna's eyes shone as she lifted the soft cloth in her hand. Grace turned on music and began waving her scarf gently, moving her feet slowly to the side. Anna copied her, at first with hesitation, then with growing excitement. The scarf floated in the air like a ribbon of light, and Anna laughed as she moved it around. Maria stood at the doorway, unnoticed. She saw her daughter smiling, her small body swaying with courage, her eyes filled with life. The sight brought a warmth Maria had long missed. She remembered when Anna was younger, how she had dreamed her child would dance in recitals, wearing bright costumes. She thought those dreams had ended. But now, watching Anna move with her scarf, Maria realized perhaps the dream had only changed shape. That evening at dinner, Maria asked, "Anna, what do you enjoy most about dancing?" Anna's fork paused mid-air as she thought carefully. Then she smiled. It makes me feel free, Mama. When I move, I don't think about what I cannot do. I only think about what I can. Those words pierced Maria's heart. For years she had feared her daughter's limits, but Anna only thought about her possibilities. Maria lowered her gaze, hiding her tears with a sip of water. Grace noticed the moment. She said softly, "Madam, the girl has a brave heart. All she needs is a chance." Maria nodded without speaking, but inside she felt something stir. She realized she had been holding on to fear not for Anna's sake, but her own. One afternoon, Maria invited Clara, her old friend, to visit. She wanted someone she trusted to see what was happening. When Clara arrived, Anna greeted her with excitement. "Do you want to see me dance?" she asked eagerly. Clara clapped her hands in delight. "Of course, dear. Show me." Grace played the music and handed Anna the scarf. Slowly, Anna moved side to side, lifting her foot and waving the scarf with joy. Clara's eyes widened, and she whispered, "She is glowing." Maria felt her chest swell with pride. For the first time, instead of fear, she felt joy while watching her daughter move. After the dance, Clara turned to Maria and said, "You see? This is not danger. This is life." That night, Maria sat alone in the living room. She looked at the grand piano that no one had touched in years. Her husband, who had once filled the house with music, had left long ago, leaving only memories. Maria realized she had allowed sadness and fear to rule her home. Now, Grace's kindness and Anna's courage were teaching her something she had forgotten: hope. The next morning, Maria surprised both Anna and Grace. She entered the practice room carrying a box. "I brought something," she said with a small smile. Inside the box were soft shoes, pale pink, with tiny straps. "These were meant for you years ago," Maria said to her daughter. "I never gave them to you because I thought you would never use them. But now, I think it is time." Anna gasped with joy. "Mama, they are beautiful." Grace helped the girl put on the shoes, tying the straps carefully. Anna stood, holding Grace's hands, and whispered, "I feel like a real dancer." Maria knelt beside her and touched her cheek. "You are a real dancer, my dear. You always were." In the days that followed, practice became even more special. The shoes made Anna feel stronger, more confident. Grace encouraged her with gentle claps and laughter. Maria sometimes joined them, clapping along or choosing music from her collection. Slowly, she became part of the journey. One evening, Grace suggested something new. "Why don't we prepare a small performance for Madam? Not just steps, but a little dance, beginning to end. Anna, you can show her how far you have come." Anna's eyes sparkled. "Yes, I want that. Mama, will you watch me?" Maria smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "I will watch every step, my dear." Over the next week, Grace and Anna worked hard. They practiced balance, timing, and movements with the scarf. Every day Maria watched quietly, sometimes clapping, sometimes wiping her eyes when no one noticed. She began to see not only Anna's growth but also her own. At the end of the week, the moment arrived. The living room was cleared of furniture. Grace placed a chair nearby for support, though Anna barely needed it now. The music began, soft and gentle. Anna lifted her scarf and stepped forward with courage. Her movements were slow, careful, but graceful. She swayed side to side, lifted her foot, and turned slightly with Grace's guiding hand. When the music ended, Anna stood tall, smiling with pride. Maria clapped loudly, her eyes shining with tears. "Bravo, my love. You were beautiful." Anna ran, or rather half-walked, half-stumbled into her mother's arms. Maria held her close, whispering, "You are stronger than I ever believed." Grace stood behind them, smiling quietly. She knew this was only the beginning. The girl had found her courage, and the mother had begun to change. Maria realized something deep that night. Her wealth had built walls around her, but kindness and courage had broken them down. She began to see life in a new way, and she knew her heart would never be the same. The little performance changed something inside Maria. For years, she had looked at her daughter and thought only of what she could not do. But now, every time she saw Anna move even one step, she saw courage and strength. In the mornings, Maria found herself drawn to Anna's practice sessions. She would sit quietly on the sofa while Grace guided her daughter through steps. Sometimes she even suggested songs from her collection, songs she had not listened to in years. Music returned to the house like sunlight after a long winter. One afternoon, Maria was sitting in the garden, sipping tea, when she overheard Anna speaking with Grace. The girl's voice was filled with excitement. "Do you think one day I can dance in front of more people? Not just Mama, but others too." Grace smiled as she brushed the girl's hair. "Of course. Dancing is not only for yourself, but for sharing. When people see you move with courage, they will feel hope." Maria's heart tightened at those words. She had always feared public eyes on her daughter, afraid people would whisper about her disability. But she realized Grace was right. People needed to see Anna's courage, not her limits. The very next day, Maria spoke with Clara. "My daughter wants to dance for more people. Do you think it would be wise?" Clara smiled warmly. "It would be more than wise. It would be healing. You should let her. Start small, maybe with family or close friends. Let her show the world what you have seen with your own eyes." Maria thought long and hard. Finally, she decided to host a small gathering at her home. It would be a tea evening with close friends and relatives. Nothing grand, just enough for Anna to share her dance. When Maria shared the idea with Grace, the maid's eyes lit up. "This is wonderful, madam. Anna will be so happy." That evening, Maria sat beside her daughter's bed. "Anna, I have something to tell you. I am planning a small party. Our friends will come, and if you are ready, you can show them your dance." Anna's eyes widened with surprise and delight. "Really, Mama? I can dance for them?" Maria nodded gently. "Yes, my dear. Only if you want to." Anna hugged her mother tightly. "I want to. I want them to see me." From that day forward, the practice sessions grew more serious. Grace guided Anna with extra care, helping her polish her movements and balance. She made sure Anna rested between steps and drank plenty of water. "You must be strong for your big day," she said kindly. Maria sometimes joined them, clapping in rhythm or offering gentle words of encouragement. Each time she saw Anna moving, her heart swelled with pride. She realized she was no longer afraid. She wanted her daughter to shine. The day of the gathering arrived. The house was decorated with flowers, and soft music played in the background. Guests filled the living room, sipping tea and speaking politely. Many of them had not seen Anna in a long time, and they were curious. Maria stood tall, her heart beating fast. She looked at Grace, who gave her a reassuring nod. Then Maria announced, "Thank you all for coming. Tonight is special. My daughter, Anna, has something to share with you." The room grew quiet. Grace led Anna to the center, holding her hand gently. The girl wore the pink shoes her mother had given her, and she carried her scarf like a ribbon of courage. Music began. Anna lifted her chin, swayed gently, and took her steps with determination. Her movements were not fast or perfect, but they carried grace and strength. The scarf floated in the air as she turned, her smile bright as the sun. For a moment, the room was silent, as if everyone held their breath. Then, when the music ended, the guests broke into applause. Some even stood, clapping loudly, their eyes shining with admiration. Maria's heart overflowed with pride. She clapped the hardest, her tears falling freely. She rushed forward, embracing her daughter in front of everyone. "You were beautiful," she whispered. "You were shining." The guests came forward to congratulate Anna. One woman said, "You are an inspiration, dear." Another added, "Your courage is a gift to us all." Anna blushed but smiled proudly. She looked at her mother and whispered, "Mama, they liked it?" Maria kissed her forehead. "They loved it, my dear. And I love you more than ever." Grace stood to the side, her hands folded, her eyes full of quiet pride. She did not seek attention, but Maria noticed her. For the first time, she felt a deep gratitude that went beyond words. After the guests left, Maria approached Grace in the kitchen. Her voice was soft but filled with emotion. "You have given my daughter a gift I never could. You believed in her when I only saw limits. Thank you, Grace." Grace smiled gently. "Madam, it was always in her. I only helped her see it." That night, Maria sat by the window long after everyone had gone to bed. She thought about how much her life had changed in a few short weeks. She realized wealth could not buy the strength and joy she had seen in her daughter's eyes. It was kindness, patience, and belief that had made it possible. And all of that had come from Grace. Maria whispered to herself, "She has not only changed Anna's life. She has changed mine too." The small gathering left a deep mark on Maria's heart. For the first time, she saw her daughter not as fragile but as strong, not as limited but as full of possibilities. That night, when she kissed Anna goodnight, she whispered, "You made me proud today. You made everyone proud." Anna hugged her mother tightly. "I felt free, Mama. I want to dance again and again." Maria's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were tears of joy, not sorrow. In the following days, news of Anna's little performance began to spread among Maria's circle of friends. People talked about the courage of the young girl who danced despite her challenges. Some wanted to come and see her again. Maria, who had once hidden her daughter from curious eyes, now felt pride when people asked about her. One afternoon, Clara visited again. As she sipped tea in the garden with Maria, she said, "Your daughter's courage has touched many hearts. People are speaking about her. You should let her story be known." Maria thought for a moment. "You mean, share it outside our circle? I am not sure I am ready for that." Clara smiled kindly. "Sometimes, the world needs to see light. Anna is that light. And your courage as a mother will inspire others too." Maria looked across the garden where Anna was practicing with Grace. The girl moved slowly, her scarf waving gently in the air, her laughter ringing like bells. Maria felt her heart swell with pride. Perhaps Clara was right. That evening, Maria sat with Grace in the kitchen. "I want to ask your opinion. People are talking about Anna's dance. Some even suggest we share her story. Do you think she is ready?" Grace placed the dishes aside and looked at Maria calmly. "Madam, your daughter is not afraid. She does not dance for fame or for others. She dances because it gives her joy. If you feel sharing her joy will help the world, then yes, she is ready. But the choice should be hers." Maria nodded. "You are right. I will ask her." Later that night, Maria sat by Anna's bed. "My dear, people were so touched by your dance that they want others to see it too. Would you like to perform again, maybe for a bigger group?" Anna's eyes widened with excitement. "Really, Mama? More people watching me?" "Yes," Maria said, stroking her hair. "Only if you want to." Anna smiled brightly. "I want to. I want to show them I am not weak. I want to show them I can shine too." The next weeks became a new chapter in their lives. Grace helped Anna prepare more seriously. She taught her not only steps but also how to breathe, how to rest, and how to move with rhythm. Sometimes the practice was tiring, and Anna would sit down with sweat on her forehead. But Grace always encouraged her, saying, "Every dancer feels tired. Rest, then rise again. That is part of the journey." Maria supported them in every way. She arranged music, ordered comfortable practice clothes for her daughter, and even joined them in clapping along. The walls of the house, once filled with silence, now echoed with laughter, music, and hope. Finally, the day came when Maria invited more guests to her home. This time, it was not just close friends but also members of her wider circle, people of influence and standing. The hall was decorated with flowers, and the piano in the corner was polished. Maria felt nervous as the guests arrived. What if Anna stumbled? What if people pitied her instead of admiring her? But when she saw her daughter waiting in the corner with her scarf and her pink shoes, smiling with courage, Maria's fear melted away. Grace whispered to Anna, "Remember, you are not dancing to impress them. You are dancing to show your heart." The music began, soft and sweet. Anna stepped forward, her scarf flowing through the air like a ribbon of light. She swayed side to side, lifted her foot, and turned carefully with Grace's guiding hand nearby. Every movement was filled with courage. The guests watched in silence, their eyes fixed on the little girl. Then, as the music ended, the room burst into applause. Some guests even had tears in their eyes. Maria clapped the loudest, her heart overflowing with pride. She walked to her daughter, hugged her tightly, and whispered, "You were amazing, my dear. You touched every heart here." The guests surrounded Anna, praising her courage and strength. One man said, "This child is a true inspiration. She has taught us what determination looks like." Maria's chest swelled with pride, but she also knew this moment belonged not just to her daughter, but to Grace as well. Without Grace's patience and belief, Anna would never have found her wings. That night, after the guests left, Maria found Grace in the quiet kitchen. She reached out and held her hand. "You are more than a maid in this house. You are family. You have given my daughter hope, and you have given me courage too. My life has changed because of you." Grace smiled humbly. "Madam, I only gave her my hand. She had the courage all along. And you," she paused, looking at Maria with respect, "you gave her your heart. That is why she shines." Maria's eyes filled with tears. She realized she was no longer the same woman who had once lived in fear. Her daughter had changed, but so had she. And it was only the beginning. The applause of that evening echoed in Maria's memory for many days. She replayed the image of her daughter's smile, the light in her eyes, and the admiration of the guests. It was as if a door had opened not just for Anna, but for Maria herself. Before, her life had been a routine of silence, worry, and guarded pride. Now it was filled with movement, music, and a new kind of strength. The house no longer felt heavy. Instead, it felt alive. One morning, as the sun painted the sky with soft colors, Maria sat by the window and watched Anna practice with her scarf. The girl twirled gently, humming to herself. Grace clapped along, giving small tips and encouragement. Maria felt warmth fill her chest. She thought of how much had changed. She remembered the lonely nights when she cried quietly, asking why her daughter had to suffer. She remembered the bitterness she carried in her heart. But now, those feelings seemed far away. Replaced by hope. Replaced by gratitude. A letter arrived that same day. It was from the community center in the city. They had heard about Anna's little performance through one of the guests and wanted to invite her to join a children's showcase. Maria's heart skipped a beat as she read the letter aloud. "Anna," she said, smiling nervously, "they want you to dance in front of many people, not just our friends. At a real event." Anna's eyes grew wide. "Mama, can I really?" A big stage. Maria knelt and held her daughter's hands. Yes, my dear. But only if you want to. It will be different from here. Many eyes will be on you. Anna hesitated only for a second before she nodded with determination. I want to. I want to show others that I can. Grace placed a gentle hand on Maria's shoulder. She is ready. You must believe it too. The weeks that followed were full of preparation. Grace guided Anna's practice every morning, teaching her how to keep her balance, how to stay calm under bright lights, and how to let her heart speak through her movements. Maria supported them in every way, sometimes even clapping the rhythm or adjusting the music. The day of the showcase arrived. The hall was filled with families, children, and strangers from across the city. The stage was lit brightly, and Maria felt her heart beat faster as she held Anna's hand backstage. Are you nervous, my love? Maria asked softly. Anna smiled bravely. A little. But I remember what Grace said. I will dance to show my heart, not for their eyes. Maria hugged her tightly. Then you will shine brighter than ever. When Anna stepped onto the stage, the room grew quiet. The music began soft, gentle notes that filled the hall. Anna lifted her scarf, her arms moving gracefully. She swayed, turned, and lifted her foot with care. Every step showed courage, every movement spoke of hope. The audience leaned forward, watching with admiration. They were not seeing a fragile child. They were seeing a girl who had chosen to rise above her limits. They were seeing strength in its purest form. When the dance ended, the silence broke into thunderous applause. People stood, clapping loudly. Some even wiped tears from their eyes. Maria felt her heart swell. She looked at Grace, who stood nearby with a proud smile. The two women shared a glance that spoke more than words, gratitude, respect, and a bond that had grown deep. Backstage, Anna ran into her mother's arms. Mama, did I do well? Maria's eyes shone with tears. You did more than well, my love. You touched every heart in that hall. You showed them who you truly are. Grace joined them, placing her hand gently on Anna's shoulder. You were a star today. Never forget this feeling. That night, when they returned home, Maria gathered Anna and Grace in the living room. She looked at them both and spoke with a voice full of emotion. I want to say something. My life has changed because of what we have shared together. Grace, you came to this house as a maid, but to me, you are no longer just that. You are family. You gave my daughter wings when I had lost hope. You gave me strength when I felt weak. I will never forget that. Grace lowered her head humbly. Madam, I only walked beside her. She already had wings. And you had love. That is why she could fly. Maria reached for Grace's hand and held it firmly. No, Grace. You showed me how to see the light. For that, I am forever thankful. Anna looked between them, smiling brightly. Mama, we are like a team. You love me, Grace teaches me, and I dance for both of you. Maria pulled her daughter close. Yes, my dear. We are a team. And together, we will never let fear control us again. From that day onward, life was no longer about hiding or worrying. It was about celebrating small victories, about dancing through struggles, and about sharing joy with others. Maria continued to support her daughter's passion. Anna continued to grow stronger and braver. And Grace remained a steady guide, a friend, and a blessing in their home. The story of the little girl who danced spread further in the city, touching hearts wherever it was told. But for Maria, the greatest change was not in how the world saw her daughter. It was in how she herself saw her child, her maid, and her own heart. She had learned that courage can come from the smallest steps, that love can heal the deepest wounds, and that hope can be found where you least expect it. And every time Anna danced, with her scarf flowing and her laughter filling the air, Maria knew one thing with certainty: her life, and her daughter's life, had been changed forever.